right, welcome to another recent reads and a few new books. It's been a while since I did one of these, but I have not actually read all that much. In the last one, I left off with James Schmitz's final Hub Federation book. I think I was just about to start this in the last video, and since then I posted a video, kind of an overview of the Federation. But when I made that, I had not actually finished this. I got so into making the video, I'd only read a couple stories in this. So I finished this, and I was actually a little frustrated. There's some stuff in here that kind of expands the world of the Federation that I would have included in my video had I have read this. This ended up having some of my favorite stories. The Searcher, which I had read by the point I made the video, and I comment on it in the video. I liked it so much I bought the analog just because I found this for $7 on eBay, where it was first published in, what was it, 66 February. And that's actually a depiction from the story. I was hoping there'd be story or pictures, and there is a few. There's the main character, Dana Star Gems, who's like a communications expert for the Kith Detective Agency. So she has like lots of high-tech gadgetry, which I really enjoyed. It did not really read like a story from the 60s. It felt like it was from the 80s. I'm sure there's another picture in here, but I'm not finding it. Oh, just another one of them running. I really like that story. It's one of my favorites of his, so I wanted to have that. And just curious, what else is in here? An Ornament to His Profession by Charles L. Harness, Mind's Meat by Paul Ashe, and The Switcheroo Revisited by Mac Reynolds. So I'm highly positive I'm going to reread that at some point, so when I do, I'll probably read it from this. Another one in here that I really enjoyed was A Nice Day for Screaming, which was a good story, but I couldn't really tell what the title had to do with it. But it kind of, I wouldn't say it expanded the world building, but it had hints of a larger presence in the galaxy kind of thing that I thought was really cool. These scientists, the main character is a reporter who features in some other stories. I think he's a relative of Talsey Amberden or something. He's on this scientific vessel which is going to jump into a type of hyperspace that's just been discovered. They use hyperspace to travel FTL, but there's this new discovery where you can travel even faster, and he's going to be doing a kind of live report from it. And the story reads as if they've come into contact with some sort of other dimensional presence, but what actually ends up having happened to them is deduced, I guess, from the main characters at the end, and it was really cool. There's hints of a far grander civilization out there that the Hub is just kind of brushing up against, and inadvertently made contact with. But that larger society probably has no idea. They're too big to notice a small human presence. I thought that story was really cool. These all deal with kind of external threats, where a lot of the other stories from the other three books are kind of dangers from within the Hub, which is mostly what I talk about in the video I made. After that, I read most of the Best of Lee Brackett, which was a reread for me in preparation for the discussion video I did with Richard and Ira, and that was fun. And again, The Last Days of Chandakor is probably my favorite story from here, and I made a video, kind of a retelling of that, condensed with pictures and whatnot, so you can check that out, or check the discussion video out, really, because we had a good time talking about that. And the next video for that will be next month, and we'll be doing the Best of Frederick Brown, which will be on Ira's channel at SF Words of Wonder. So then I had no idea what to read. I just stared at my bookshelf like I often do, and I've wanted to reread Century Reign for years now. I first read it in, I think, 2015. Alistair Reynolds, probably my favorite SF author. And Century Reign is, I think I gave it a 4 out of 5. No, it must have been a 5 out of 5 way back then, but it holds up. It's another 5 out of 5. I think it was just over 500, yeah, 530 pages. I could see people complaining that it could have done with some cuts, but I think it was pretty good as it is. It's a really good detective and space opera story. It starts with two threads. You've got Wendell Floyd, who's a 1930s-ish detective in Paris, and he takes the case of this this landlord. One of his tenants was an young American woman who was presumably a tourist and fell from a balcony and died. And the landlord thinks it was murder, but the police couldn't be bothered. So he hires Wendell Floyd to look into this mysterious death. And the other thread is Verity Auger, who's an archaeologist in 2270. And she lives in orbit above Earth, but her profession has her digging up the ruins of France. Earth is mostly uninhabitable due to nanotechnology getting out of control years prior, and she is exploring France. I think the world kind of collapsed around 2070, so 200 years afterwards. And through some interesting discoveries and revelations, these two characters end up meeting, and neither is traveling in time. So there you go, 1930s and 2270, two people meeting, and neither of them are actually time travelers. So really cool. I can't believe something like this didn't win, or at least get nominated for a Hugo. The way he blends these two stories is just incredible. This is from 2004. I would say this is one of his best, and you don't hear many people talking about it. It's got great noir, detective, even a love story, really, and great space opera. High-tech stuff. A lot of the time it felt like Neil Asher type world building. Absolutely loved it. Remains one of my favorites. I have no idea what I'll read next, but I do have a few books I've acquired during a couple trips to the thrift store. These laser books, which I don't think they're that great. I've read one or two now that weren't anything special. This is from Gordon Eklund, Serving in Time. I just picked it up because it was like $2, and I like the cover art. I like the whole presentation of these. They're just so neat. When was this published? 1975. I like that too. Little write-up from the editor, Roger Elwood. I think this is about kind of a utopian Earth, and a character ends up being enlisted in some sort of time-traveling service and learns some revelations about how his world became such a utopia. So I'm guessing it wasn't through moral acts, probably. Then, I don't know why I picked this up. I've never read any Andre Norton, and I love a good colonist world story, and that's what this is. So I thought maybe this will be the one I give a try. I probably have a couple others in storage of hers, but I've never read anything. So Vorloper, which, yeah, it's some sort of colonist story. John Brunner, The Atlantic Abomination. Was this an Ace book? And this must be pretty early because this is tiny. 1960. Science fiction, but also kind of horror-ish. I think basically they make contact with something at the bottom of the ocean. It looks pretty wild. It looks like it would be a pretty quick read. I have a ton of John Brunner, and I've read nothing, maybe some short stories. This looked interesting. I haven't read much Gordon R. Dixon, but this is Wolflane. Looks like some Sword and Planet, or maybe Sword and Sorcery type stuff. I grabbed that because it was both cheap and in, you know, pretty decent condition. And I think he's more known for his science fiction, so it's got the dyed text block, which I like. And this is from 1969, first printing. Just looks interesting. It might be Sword and Sorcery. It looks like he's, I don't know, some sort of barbarian with a wand or something. And then here's an interesting find. I don't know when I'll get to these because I don't have book 1. But I've stayed away from these because I have a stupid habit of just inherently not wanting to check out anything that's mass, like really popular or mainstream. I don't like any, you know, super popular movies or anything. I never like it. I never like the books that are super popular, like Three Body Problem. I thought was just okay. And now it's like, you know, the biggest thing with Netflix and all that. But this is Martha Wells' Murderbot. I think it's books 2, 3, and 4. But in all honesty, they're probably my kind of thing. But I would never pay for them new because I don't buy much new. But I think these were like $5 each. And, you know, they're nice little hardcovers, so I figured I'd pick them up. So that's Exit Strategy, Rogue Protocol, and Artificial Condition. And I think there's more than 4, so I don't have number 1, and I don't know, there's probably 5 or 6. But if I ever come across the first one, I will give these a try, or maybe, I don't know, buy it digitally or something. I think I'll probably enjoy them. I just, there's something else by Martha Wells that she wrote a long time ago that I think is kind of science fantasy that sounds really good. I think I heard about it on Bridger's channel, Library Ladder. If I can remember what that was, I'll put up a picture about it. But yeah, so I haven't read much. Spent a lot of time making those 2 videos. And I'm quite happy how those turned out. And then doing a little rereading so I could have a chat with Ira and Richard. And I don't know what I'll read next. I tentatively pulled this aside. Law Bookseller talks highly of this one. Dogs of War, which I think is cybernetically enhanced dogs in some sort of future war that maybe gain independence or kind of go rogue on their own. That's my guess. The semi-sequel takes place in the same world, Bearhead. Sounds more interesting to me, but I'm not going to read that until I've read this. So maybe I'll read that next. In all likelihood, I'll stare at my shelves and pick something completely random. But as always, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.